Alright guys, what's happening? Um, yeah, so I was wrong about Rios Alvarado. I was wrong about the winner. I was wrong about the way it was going to end. And you know what? Uh, I'll say half my time on YouTube. The first half of my time on YouTube, I was right fairly often, but the second half I haven't been right as often as I'd like to be. And I'm gonna go ahead and try and explain that real quick. Part of the reason is because I simply don't look up as much fights as I used to. And there really isn't any excuse for that because I used to work second shift. I used to come home, get drunk as fuck, and be watching fights and talking shit on YouTube all the time. Like, I would watch some fights, previous fights, doing research, building up to to predictions. And while I was doing them, I would come away with an idea, make a video right away. I would have maybe two videos before I made a prediction. But I don't know, somewhere along the lines, I just stopped watching, doing research vids, and it's helped me continue to make YouTube videos. But it really does hurt in the prediction process because looking at it now and watching that fight with more of a better eye, I might say, the first fight, I really can see a lot of reasons why I could have picked Alvarado to win, but I just didn't. I just because I didn't see it. Um, I don't know. I want to see the rubber match. I thought it was just as good as the first fight because there was a lot of controversy around the KO in the first fight, and this one, it was 12 rounds of fucking war, man. That shit. Rios Alvarado, that's the kind of fights that, they're good for boxing. So, I enjoyed the fuck out of it. So I didn't really give that much of a shit that I was wrong. So, it happens. Can't be right all the time. Um, I'll try and get, my track record's really sucking, and I'm hoping I'm gonna bring it up on these next two predictions. So Alvarado Rios is done and over with, and I was wrong, but I'm really looking forward to. There's three fights coming up that I'm really looking forward to, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about Donaire versus Rigondeaux. My opinion on this fight may not be the same as a lot of people's opinion on this fight. Don't get me wrong. I do believe that this fight has needed to happen, and it's needed to happen for a while now. But I think it's needed to happen for Nonito, not for Rigondeaux. Um, if you think Rigondeaux is going to win this fight, I think what you're seeing is the fact that he's a superb counterpuncher who also he's a power counterpuncher. He puts a lot of pop into those single punches, and his counters are fucking beautiful. He is excellent. He's an excellent counterpuncher. He just is not, he's not anyway. Okay, we're getting into why he could win. He could win. All right. The fact that he can counter so well tends to make lesser fighters or even very good fighters pause and stop and rethink their attack when they could continue pouring on, with volume and trying to beat Rigondeaux that way. He counters so well and it hurts so much that people end up, not wanting to get knocked out. Now, when I say uh, lesser fighters and even good fighters, I'm really giving him way too much credit with the good fighter shit because he does not have. He's had 11 fucking fights as a pro. I don't give a flying fat fuck about his amateur record right now because Nonito Donaire is not an amateur fighter. Okay, I know Rigondeaux has a pro style. I understand that. So does Nonito Donaire. I mean, I'm not really not understanding this argument of he's had 400 fucking amateur fights. I don't give a shit. That only really matters to me if he's fighting like, I don't know, another really inexperienced guy, maybe who would be on the same level. Like, if Nonito Donaire only had 11 fights and hadn't fought the kind of people he'd fought, I would definitely be picking Rigondeaux just based on, his overall experience. But for this fight, Donaire is actually the more proven guy. So I kind of have to cut that amateur fucking record. I have to take it, cut it, and leave it the fuck out of the equation because it's not part of the equation. But Rigondeaux could win because he is technically a better boxer. He is a better counterpuncher, and he does have that oh shit, quoting Areola from the Chaz Witherspoon fight. He does have that oh shit kind of fucking snap where he'll catch you and you fucking got to think about it. But Donaire isn't one of these fucking punks that Rigondeaux's used to fighting, man. There's a lot of people that might say Donaire is overrated, and maybe he is, but I don't think he's overrated to the point that Rigondeaux's lack of volume, lack of activity is going to that he can't take advantage of that. Like, Donaire will be able to take advantage of that. I do not think Donaire is going to be, oh shitting or stopping all that much in this fight. It is a hard fight to pick because of Rigondeaux only having 11 fights. He's looked really well. He looks spectacular. People have been calling for this fight for a long time. And it's finally happening. And then you get a guy like me on here who's kind of being an asshole about it and saying, I don't really see Rigondeaux beating this dude. And I just don't, though. I want to see it, though, because it's been called for. It's been needed to happen. Nonito has looked like he's been ducking this dude, and now it's finally happening. But now that it's finally happening, and I got to try and be as technical as I can because I want to get some predictions right for a fucking change. I don't know, man. I think Donaire has the activity. He has the left hook. He has the jab. And that jab, let's get into that jab. May not always be the prettiest. People give him a lot of praise for a jab, but, watching his fights, there's times where it's not all that pretty. But when you're fighting a guy who doesn't throw back that much, and when you're fighting a guy who's as great of a counterpuncher as Rigondeaux is, the jab is a fucking necessary tool. And it's because you have to be able to jab and work off the jab against the counterpuncher. You hear that said a lot during lots of different kind of style matchups. You have to jab for this. You have to jab for that. Against the counterpuncher who's going to wait on you the whole time, I think it's best to throw your quickest, even if it's your weakest, your quickest punch that you can get, that you can recover from as quickly as possible. Because if Rigondeaux tries to counter over the jab, it's going to be harder to counter over a jab because that's the quickest punch. As opposed to a right cross or a left hook that takes more time. So I think it's very important that Donaire sticks to the jab, and I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, there isn't anything watching Nonito Donaire that makes me think that he's not going to stick to the jab. And he's going to work off the jab, which means he's going to put 2 and 3 together. He's going to be throwing more. And let's face it, physically, Donaire has the stats. I mean, he's what? He's bigger, longer, and I would probably say he's probably stronger. Bigger, stronger, and longer. So I think Rigondeaux is going to be working at a disadvantage from Jump Street. So the question for me really is, does Rigondeaux last the 12 rounds? And if he does last the 12 rounds, does he put up a good enough fight to make it close? I don't think so. Do I think he can last 12 rounds? I think he can. But he has never, ever been in there with a guy as good as Donaire. And I think Donaire has been in there with guys who could be comparable to Rigondeaux as far as rank, as far as how they're rated. Okay, not rank, because ranks are kind of bullshit these days. But as far as, we rate them. So I'm going to have to go with Nonito Donaire by stoppage, and I'm going to say it's going to be I'm going to say 10th round stoppage. I'm hoping this is a 12-round fight, right? It better be. Anyway, I'm going to say 9th round stoppage. It could go really early. I have this playing out in my mind where Donaire, you know, pulls a fucking Montiel on him and knocks out Rigondeaux in 3. But I'm going to go with, come on in. I'm going to go with Donaire via KO in the 10th round. What's happening, dog? You don't have to whisper. It's just a video for YouTube. Oh. My video thing's right here. What's that? I was going to point it right at you. Scared of the camera? Okay.